Guajin Real Estate TV. I am so excited, actually grateful to have with me today Temi Ayodeji, and she is going to share with us about fine arts and what she's currently doing with her business. So grateful to have you here, Temi. Please first tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure, Pamela. First of all, thank you for having me. It's such an honor to speak with you today. With everything going on, you actually created time for me, and I'm really grateful for that. So what do? I am an artist, like you said. I'm also a mother, also a wife, and I've always been an artist. It's actually what I studied in college, but I deviated after getting my degree many years ago to pursue occupational therapy. And funny enough, God works in mysterious ways. I had to take a break simply because my son, who was at the age of 3, mysteriously and suddenly lost his ability to speak and subsequently was diagnosed with autism. And for many years, I had to really focus on my son as opposed to focusing on my career in occupational therapy. And about 3 years ago, while I was researching alternative means and ways to help my son improve on his focus and concentration, I stumbled upon research about, stress relieving art. And I studied it in depth. It took several months to study, and I wanted to know, wait a minute, is this really true? And fortunately, God is good. Being an artist, I decided to go ahead and recreate paintings embedding these special images that I researched about. And mysteriously enough, it helped my son improve his focus and concentration, but it also helped my husband, who's a physician. And the reason why I'm emphasizing this is for your viewers and people out there who don't understand what it's like being married to a physician. Sometimes it's stressful because he goes to work, he's stressed out, comes back home, brings it home. And I literally have to make sure that I am still his wife and the person that listens to him, which is what a lot of us do. If you're married and your wife is a doctor, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And it helped him relieve his stress as well. So what I've now decided to do ever since I stumbled upon this research years ago is to really use my art as a specialty to really work with doctors. And that's what I do right now. And I use my business to help doctors and their practices reduce their stress levels so that they can improve their performance, productivity, and most importantly, their profitability. And that's what I use my artworks for.
Wow, that's awesome. Oh my goodness, what a story. That's a great story. I can imagine the stress, yeah, because if you have patients, I would be taking on their stresses too, right? And bringing it home too, because you can't, I don't know, you can't separate it. I can't separate things like that when you get personally involved with people's lives. So how are you actually helping doctors? Talk to us about the art and doctors, how you're actually helping this
Okay.
program.
Sure, that's a great question. Now, I offer different packages. It's not just the artwork. And let me make something clear about the artwork because, when you say art, some people just think put, acrylic on canvas, frame it, boom, that's what it is. No, it's much deeper than that.
Yeah.
I actually call it virtual imagery technology. I coined it as that. And these are special images that have been scientifically proven to reduce stress levels by up to 60% within the first couple of minutes.
Wow.
Now, just take that into perspective.
Yeah.
You can look at a piece of art, not even knowing that the artwork, and I do abstract paintings, one of which is what you see behind me here.
Yeah.
And these images are embedded within the artwork. People see it, they like it, but they just wonder, they tend to let go of the stresses that they feel subconsciously. And with physicians, what I really focus on is the fact that by 9 o'clock in the morning, for example, they're already stressed out. It's just 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Because they've got patients, either that are non-compliant, they've got paperwork. It's a plethora of things. Even it might even just be driving to work in the morning that has actually added a little sprinkle of stress into their day. And what I do is having these images strategically placed within the practice. It not only helps the physicians, but it also helps the nurses that work within. It helps the clerks that work in the office. And it also helps the patients. You know, we tend to forget the patient who comes into the doctor's office. Trust me, they might love their doctor, but they don't want to see their doctor, at least not in his practice. They'd rather see him at the grocery store. So
Right.
walking in, being stressed out, being concerned about, you know, their health and well-being elevates the patient's stress levels, but having these artworks strategically positioned where they're exposed to it and subconsciously works on their stress levels, this in turn would improve, number one, the ability for the patient to hear whatever the doctor has to say to them when they meet in the waiting room, or it also helps improve on the healing process. So it works across the board and it affects everyone. And with that, doctors know they're able to commit and give their 100%. They have nurses who obviously have their own personal stresses, being able to focus and do what they need to do in order to make the doctor's job easier, as well as help the patient who comes in to see whatever medical treatment it is that they need.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Because what you're doing is you're changing the atmosphere. As people walk in, you know, because you do get stresses in the doctor's office and stresses from the patients, like you're saying, and the nurses, yeah, they're very stressed out too.
Exactly.
Probably sometimes even more so than the doctors because they're like right in it. But yeah, that's awesome that you're actually doing that. What a great God-given talent. That's so awesome.
Yeah,
What
I didn't
else?
mention, I'm sorry.
Sorry, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I didn't mention that apart from the artworks, I mentioned earlier, I said packages, and I didn't elaborate further. But within the package, there's actually stress relieving training. I'm a certified stress management coach, and that is extremely important. Sometimes, you know, when we talk about stress, people say, you know what, I'm going to do yoga. I'm going to take a walk. I'm going to change my diet. Fine. All those things are good. But guess what? It doesn't work for everybody. You know, let's think about how many people plan to do yoga. They do it after 3 sessions, but then they don't have the time or something light happens. So with the stress, you know, relieving or stress management training that I provide to the doctors in their practices, they're able to see exactly what would work for them. It could be in form of a corporate training. Sometimes nurses can say, could I work with you one-on-one? That's something that I also provide, because what works for you might not necessarily work for me, because we have completely different lifestyles, and we might have similar lifestyles, but it might just not work for you. So what I do is use my expertise in that area to really focus on the client, be it the doctor, be it the nurse, whoever it is within the practice, to really help them find means, tools, resources, things that they can incorporate immediately while they go to work, while they are functioning at home, so that overall they're able to effectively manage that stress and be more productive, be it in the office with their colleagues or at home with their families.
Oh, that's great. So do you also, you're also doing one-on-one coaching, is that right?
Yes, I do that as well, for those who
Okay.
need it, for sure.
Okay, and we all need it. Oh my gosh, yeah. With so much of the stress in our world today, there's so much going on that, yeah, this is something that is needed constantly, right? Whether you do it once a week or once a month or whatever, it's definitely needed as far as coaching and being able to relieve your stress some way or another. You know, you can't let it build up. You've got to be able to relieve it. So I think that's awesome that you do both of those. Any other special things that you can tell us about your business that you want to share with your audience?
Yes, I mentioned earlier about my son, who mysteriously lost his speech at the age of 3.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? My son speaks today. He's actually a 16-year-old teenager, and we are preparing for the next stage in life, which is higher institution of learning, college, university. And what I wrote a few months ago is a book which became an Amazon #1 best-selling book. And the book is called The Art of Autism, a pictorial guide for parents of children with special needs. And in that book, I share in detail, it's very raw, what happened from the very beginning when my son lost his speech and until now. And I just share our journey, the different things we had done over the years. And it's a book of hope. It's a book where I take you on the journey. It's emotional, but it's also triumphant at the end. So it's not one of those books that you find yourself crying and then you just keep crying while you're cooking 2 weeks later. No, you celebrate it, the triumph that we had. And the goal is to help not only parents that have children with special needs
Yeah,
overcome the challenges and have hope, but regular people, because there are challenges every day. And we have to change the way we think about them. We have to focus on it and make sure that we pour everything into it. But most importantly, pray and trust God and pray that we have the right people within our social network that are there to support us. It's not so all the time,
yeah,
but we have to be strong enough to know, you know what, we can do it. It's going to take time, but
yeah.
let's just keep that hope alive. And that's what the book is for. And in the book, it's not just something you read. I
Mhm.
share 18 special paintings, some of which were the paintings that I actually used with my son to help improve his concentration.
Wow. Wow. So you actually, so he was not talking and you were actually able to help him through this process with the paintings. Is that right?
Well, he started talking before because I worked with him as far as helping with his speech.
Okay.
When you have speech and then you lose the speech and then you regain the speech, this is part of autism. The kids go through what they call echolalia. And
Yeah.
that's something that not a lot of people know how to stop. And I was able to stop it within 3 months with my son. It's another interview. It's the most interesting way to really combat echolalia. But he started talking, and he has been talking, but he had a lot of difficulty with concentrating.
Hmm.
So, and I homeschool him. So it's just a matter of he's reading and a
Yeah.
bird flies by and the shade or the shadow from the bird, he will look out and I would have to literally spend the next 10 minutes. Okay, it's okay, honey. That was just a bird. Keep reading. But then he'll look outside again because he's looking for the bird. So those little distractions
Yeah.
are difficult for a child to concentrate, or little sounds that he would hear. So I needed something that could help. And that's when I stumbled upon the stress relieving paintings and started to incorporate the artworks in our home with
Yeah.
him. And now I'm doing it as a full-time business.
That is so awesome. That is so awesome that, I actually went through that myself years ago, with Lyme disease and concentration. I actually wasn't even able to put even a small puzzle together, and I was actually deemed disabled by the state of Maryland because I couldn't concentrate, I couldn't talk, I couldn't put words together. And with prayer and hope, like you said, it actually, God helped me through that process, and I was able to come back and
Yes.
be able to do this again.
Yes.
So I give a lot of credit and praise to God for his work in my life and so much that he's done
Yes.
for me. So God is good. And like you said, yeah, hope and prayer is just, it's what it's all about, right?
Yes.
So
Yes. And
share with us.
congratulations to you. I mean, thank
Thank
you for
you.
resharing
Thank
that.
you.
Congratulations.
Yeah, God is good.
Yes, all the
Um,
time.
he really is. Tell us, how would one get any other information you want to share before we share your contact information and how someone will get in touch with you?
It's just basically that, and to just let people understand that, yes, my focus is with physicians, but if you find yourself ever, working in an environment that is extremely stressful and you're not working in a doctor's office, and you do want to reach out there, I will definitely share the different social media outlets that one can reach me. And, we'll be able to talk and see basically to see, if there's something that I can help you with. It could be anything, but I'll be more than happy to talk to the individual. And if it's to speak with their office or groups, I am more than happy and willing and open to, do the best that I can to make sure that we all try to live a much more stress reduced life. Stress is good, but when it's chronic and we have no control of it, that is when it's bad. And there's a lot of, chronic stress, negative stress out there. So that's something I want to work with and help people overcome.
That's awesome. So give us the name of your book again. It's on Amazon, so one can actually get that book on Amazon right now.
Sure. It's called The Art of Autism,
Okay,
a pictorial guide for parents of children with special needs. And if you just remember me as the artist, it's the Art of Autism. And actually the book has one of my paintings. I actually have the book somewhere here. Okay, it's not here, it's in a bag, sorry. It's called The Art of Autism, and it'll have my name on it, Temi Ayodeji. And when you look at the book, you'd actually see one of my paintings that I used with my son on the cover. And on the back of the book is the full painting itself, the whole artwork.
okay, that's awesome. And your website and your contact information, please.
Sure, my website is Temi, Temi, TemiFineArts.com. And you can also reach me on different social media outlets. Instagram, it is Temi_modern art. You can also reach me on LinkedIn, Temi Ayodeji. I'm also there as well. But the best way to reach me, I would say, and quickest way to reach me is through Instagram. You can always send me a DM. And I'm always good at responding, and we'll be able to schedule, I'll communicate with you, and then we'll just take it from there.
Okay, okay, great. Thank you so much for being with us today.
It's a
And we will
pleasure.
definitely promote you out there on
God
all
bless you.
social media sites and things like that. Everyone, thank you so much for being with us. Please reach out to Temi and get her book on Amazon, you guys. I think it'll be a great help to you if you have a special need child or know of anyone that you can actually gift the book to. That would be awesome too. Thank you so much for being with us. Be blessed, everyone, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.